What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Have a very quick YouTube exclusive for you guys today to give you a timestamp. It is Sunday, April 27th. It's about 10 o'clock p.m. and we're about a couple of minutes removed from some breaking news. Some breaking news first reported by Axios.com and writer or journalist Cunit Dill. Sorry if I butchered your name. That's a rather unique name. But he broke the news that the Commanders are very close with the city of the District of Columbia on announcing a new deal to bring a new stadium back to DC, essentially making RFK 2.0. They will be agreeing to a deal or close to agreeing to a deal to bring back a stadium at the old decrepit campus that RFK is now. And when I say that they're super close to a deal, I mean as if they're going to be announcing this deal in about 13 hours. 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, Monday, April the 28th, 2025, is set that Mayor Mario Bowser, and Josh Harris are going to be announcing a deal around $3 billion towards a new stadium at the old decrepit RFK site, essentially building the RFK 2.0 stadium. And this is breaking news. This is certainly exciting news. This is something a lot of fans have wanted for a while, and ultimately this is something that I think Josh Harris has wanted since the day that he became the owner of the franchise. And I'm super excited for this move. I'm super excited for this move. I wish I could take off to go live when they make the announcement, because with them making an announcement, they said that the agreement is in place. So you know what that means? That means that there's some renderings out there somewhere. That means that there's some renderings out there somewhere, some architectural designs, some blueprints out there somewhere for how RFK 2.0 is going to be looking. And I don't know, are they going to be unveiled tomorrow? I'm going to be locked in, glued in to the press release and the press conference tomorrow with Josh Harris and Mayor Muriel Bowser. But if somebody that grew up driving past RFK every day until I went to middle school. I went to Orr Elementary. It's known as Boone now, on Minnesota Avenue. I drove past RFK every day, and I have a unique experiences. I drove past RFK, and I was too young to know, the glory years of there. I just knew RFK as a fucking dump. And then I grew up close enough to Anacostia where I saw the ultimate change that, bringing Nats Park to the Navy Yard did to the entire community over there in Anacostia and in the Navy Yard. And this is what I was trying to tell people when it was deemed that DC was probably the favorite to get the stadium. And, a lot of the boomers in the community, shout out to y'all, were, petrified of coming back to DC. They see DMV hoods and news, and they see all the news updates for the crime. But to be quite honest, this is all the more reason to bring a stadium to DC, because you're going to have to give people jobs where they're not robbing people and things of that nature. And also, you're going to have to pick up the police force around that area. And that's something that has happened around Nats Park. Yeah, you have your incidents every now and then around Nats Park and in the Anacostia area. But trust me, as somebody that grew up there in the late 90s and early 2000s, it ain't nothing compared to the Gotham City that it was when I was a child growing up in Anacostia. And if we can have that type of revitalization over there in North Capitol Street, I'll be super excited. On North Capitol, I'll be super excited because growing up with all my family members that are Redskins Commander fans, they told me of all the glory years of RFK, but I didn't necessarily experience it. My first game that I remember watching was in like 1999, and they were in FedEx Field by then. So hopefully, they don't price me out of the season tickets, so I'll be boots on the ground for the inauguration year and the first overall game at RFK 2.0. I'm super excited. You see, I'm at a loss for words. But let's go into some of the details that came with this article from Axios.com. The headline was Commanders to unveil new NFL stadium deal with DC on Monday. It says the major project will jumpstart construction of a new residential and entertainment hub on the waterfront real estate, and Mayor Muriel Bowser reportedly wants to kick in around $800 million in taxpayer dollars. The state of play. The announcement is planned for 11 a.m. at the National Press Club. Two sources with knowledge were not authorized. Franchise owner Josh Harris plans to join Mayor Bowser at the unveiling, according to the invitation. It says that Bowser's office and the Commanders negotiated for months to bring a deal to bring the NFL back to the nation's capital. The price tag was revealed in media coverage this month through full details that are yet to be known. Yeah, we saw a couple of reports coming out earlier, a couple of weeks ago, where that $3 billion price tag had came out. And I was just, I was like, well, that's rather peculiar because that number didn't come out of nowhere. So there's a couple of obstacles that, ultimately the Commanders and Mayor Bowser are going to have to jump through or run through and conquer if they ultimately want to bring RFK 2.0 back to its stomping grounds. And it's up to the DC Council to approve the deal. Many lawmakers oppose sinking public money into a stadium project, not to mention the city's finances are in a funk due to the federal job cuts and a congressional mandated budget cut. The city is expected to trim public services as it foresees a mild recession in the next fiscal year. The DC Treasury should not be paying towards the stadium. Council member Phil Mendelson. And Phil Mendelson, as a guy, if you've been behind the scenes and you're a diehard, a super diehard, I don't even know, a maniac, a fanatic with this team. You've heard that name, Phil Mendelson, before, because this is a guy that has been opposing bringing a stadium to Washington, D.C. for a while. I thought that he had a change in his stance, but it seems as if he is very opposed to D.C. taxpayers paying any amount towards that. But if you look at the tweets from Mayor Bowser that were released or that she posted earlier today that came out before this report came out, it's like she was leaving a couple of Easter eggs. She was leaving a couple clues for us, like she's Steve, Blues Clues. Shout out to all my 90s babies and my early 2000 babies. But she tweeted, she was in her bag. She was in her bag. So it's almost as if she's strutting like Vince McMahon in 2003. Walking down to the ramp, and it's almost as if, those thoughts of Phil Mendelson doesn't matter to her. She let off a couple of tweets. It says that Nax Parks helped make us the District of Champions. In 2006, DC made a vote investment of $611 million to build a new stadium on vacant lot. Today, that neighborhood has over 85 restaurants, 6,500 residencies, and 5 hotels. That's what we mean when we talk about a sports economy. Mayor Bowser ain't tweeting that for no reason. You mean to tell me she just woke up on Sunday, April the 27th, and said, yeah, let me tweet about Nats Park today. Let me tweet about Nats Park and the sports economy in D.C. today. There's a reason why she made that tweet, and there's a reason why she made this tweet as well. Last week, we previewed the fiscal year budget proposal by announcing big investments in child care and early childhood education. This coming week, I will continue to highlight a budget that I am proud of, a budget that right-sizes spending and makes big investments in our future. I want DC to know that we're not standing still in fiscal year 26. We're putting forward a transformational economic growth agenda and one that will reset economic activity, create jobs for residents, and lean into bold opportunities for the future of our city. So she's essentially saying that that's what the future around RFK on North Capitol is going to look like, basically comparing it to the revitalization of that Anacostia community where Nats Park is. They're going to get a chance to rebuild along the water, just like they did, at Nats Park with the Anacostia River being there. And that body of land right outside of RFK Stadium. I've heard all the talks of making that walk across the bridge to RFK back in the late 90s and the early 90s, the early years, essentially the glory days. And like I said, if they don't price me out, Josh Harris, I'm talking to you, my boy. If y'all don't price me out, I can't wait to be making that walk into RFK 2.0. Super excited. So be on the lookout for this news to drop tomorrow, like I said, around 11 a.m. for the press conference. And yeah, be sure that Bleeding B&G is going to be all on top of the news. I'm curious. And somebody that rides around that stadium now, going in and out of work, I'm curious to see how that ingress and egress. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm curious to see how that looks from the stadium. But expect some new roads, some new traffic plans, and things of that nature to be built around North Capitol if this plan was to go through. So that'll do it for this video. Super exciting times. It looks like RFK 2.0 is damn near done. It looks like the deal is damn near done. And I'm super excited. It seems as if all the positive vibes are coming back to the Commanders. We bought the winning back. We bringing the stadium back to RFK. But one thing that I can promise you, that name is not coming back. That R name is not coming back. Don't shoot the messages because I would love for it to. But don't be expecting that name to come back as part of a potential rebrand along with RFK 2.0. So that'll do it for this video. Check in on you guys on the flip side. Let me know how you feel about RFK 2.0 making a return for the Commanders, making a return back to DC. How do you guys feel? Flood the comments. Let me know. And be tuned into the channel for any more comment regarding your beloved Washington Commanders. I'll check in on y'all on the flip side. Peace.